A delightful customer experience can be a slow but very powerful growth driver, one that is sometimes overlooked. I think business owners are a tight knit community. They often make recommendations to each other about the products and services that they love. I think much more so than consumers. If you're growing really fast and you're going from 0 to 100 rapidly, then you should be thinking about brand quite early on, versus if you're planning like sort of a steady growth and you have some time until your digital marketing really taps out, then you still have some more time. So I think that's what I would do for marketplaces. For me, the rule of thumb is push the channels that are working for you hard and make them work hard for you. But when each of them will reach their kind of tipping point or the point where they get too expensive, you're also communicating your brand through digital. It's not just television and billboards and radio that you communicate your brand through, right? Digital is very much an important channel for this. I think it's more about the funnel and how you invest in the funnel over time. I think D2C brands have disrupted traditional CPG to some extent because they are building a really strong own brand e-commerce experience and super loyal communities around their product, which is quite untraditional for a CPG brand. And those kind of brands haven't really done that historically. And more interestingly, they're also reimagining the supply chain, which I find fascinating and invigorating, because they're getting consumers closer to producers. And they're bringing transparency into the supply chain. I think that's here to stay. I think as consumers, we want that. But I also do think that D2C brands will start diversifying distribution as they scale and as they want more scale. Mm-hmm. So in that sense, yes, they may look like CPG in that they will have multiple distribution channels and they will try to reach customers through many different ways, including the supermarket, including big retail. Job of a brand manager is a little bit easier when it comes to tracking. I still don't think it's fun, and I empathize because I've had that pain. But I think at the end of the day, the question is, okay, why are we building this brand, or why do we invest in branding? It's still, at the end of the day, it's towards a growth objective. I mean, you want to grow the business, you want to create more sticky customers and so on. So I tend to measure the impact of branding through business metrics. Of course, these are lagging indicators, but I think that's the best way to figure out if this is working or not in the long run. So is customer acquisition cost on digital paid channels falling? Is basket size going up? Are we getting more organic users? Are we retaining users better? Are they leaving better reviews and ratings? So there are a lot of indicators that help us understand whether these branding efforts are working. And when I say branding, I don't necessarily just mean buying above the line advertising, but really when content and communications that is crafted to power your brand as opposed to powering a growth objective. I think we all know when we see a cult brand, but really it's so many different things coming together that make it true. I think today customers are way more discerning and they ask for more. And I think it's a combination of really, really smart pricing, a superior experience, and then creative marketing tactics, using channels innovatively. All of that combined, I think, is what creates this magic around a brand. And then of course it has to be targeted super sharply with precision to that niche customer base. And that's when you get this cult status. Customer acquisition cost and the number of users. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the top line metrics that tell me about growth. Yeah. Bottom line metrics, which is customer lifetime value and marketing burn, which tells me how much it's all costing, and also what am I getting for my money. And then customer experience metrics like NPS and retention. So to me, these were like holy grail metrics, and I would track them religiously all the time, every stage of the business, any kind of business I run. Drill downs and double click that you can do on all of these metrics. Channel mix is another one that I highly recommend teams track, as sophisticated as possible at your scale. Attribution is another one that I think teams start tracking a little bit later on in their journey, and I think very also to understand and optimize marketing. And detailed site metrics